Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey, everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for being on our call today. Appreciate those who are here live. I'm excited for what we get to discover today. And also for those who are joining us on the podcast, I want to welcome you and encourage you to participate as if you were live. Grab some paper and a pen, and we're going to be doing a private meditation in just a moment, a 90-second private meditation. And I invite you to write down the inspired thoughts that come to you, just as we're doing here live. Today, we're going to focus on gratitude for divine orchestration. Gratitude for divine orchestration. And I'm not going to give any more instruction than that. We're just going to do our 90-second private silent meditation. Write down whatever comes to you, and then we'll share. Begin. All right. I have been in my daily GPS since 5 o'clock this morning. So it's been one of those daily GPS where I've been getting a lot of really cool understanding. And it's just like one thing has led to another, and it's opened up new understanding. I was inspired in my daily GPS something came back to my remembrance of a concept that came to me many months ago about creating according to the creation of the world, the pattern that God and Christ followed to create the earth in 6 days and then resting on the seventh. And I was inspired to go back and find those notes that I had taken back then. It was back in September and October. There was kind of a study there for a couple of months about that. And then it was in November that I started getting the blueprint for the Lord's Way to Wealth. And I didn't realize it until I went back, and was searching that information up and realized that that was a preparation for me to be able to have the Lord's Way to Wealth information given to me. And then now it has taken me back full circle to that 6 days information. And when I went back and looked at it, it seemed to me that it was just a really crude understanding then, and it's way more complete now. it's like there was a crude understanding that was just kind of like a seed planted that allowed me to step into the Lord's Way to Wealth. And now that the Lord's Way to Wealth is more complete, then I was able to go back, and now I have just a broader and deeper understanding of that creation. And so I think the really the point that I want to make from my personal inspiration today with divine orchestration is that all things point to Christ. He's the way. His mission is my blueprint for life. It's my blueprint for my life, and it's my blueprint for my business. And to me, that is just so simple. He's laid everything out. And as I'm, getting more clear on everything and taking him, not just as my partner, but as my example, it's like he's given us everything that we need to know. He's given us everything. And I'm just super grateful for that. Who else has something they would like to share?
I'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about divine, orchestration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's just a capital T truth. Like, that's just is what it is. Like, you don't really argue with that. But I understand that in the world, not everyone believes that. And so it really is a choice. You can choose to believe that everything is divinely orchestrated, or not. Or you can choose to believe that everything's just random and it just kind of happens, and you just kind of have to go with whatever you're given because that's just what you're given. And I think that choosing to believe that way, you just have no control. You're so at the whim of other people in the world. And it's just that headspace, I think, is just full of, breeds anxiety. And I thought it was interesting last night. I kind of woke up in the middle of the night, and in the past, when I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would usually be full of anxious thoughts, just lots of like fear and worries, that didn't make sense, but felt necessary in the moment. And I feel like I've come so far from that because I was full of peace, and I was just laying there and I was just thinking about how grateful I was for all of the blessings in my life. And I really felt like everything is divinely orchestrated. And because I know that, I can have peace even when there's chaos, because I just have such a strong trust in the Lord and in his timing and in his, the revelations that he's given and the promises he's given, because I know that he will always follow through with those promises. So I know that as long as I am continually refocusing on him when I do, stray because of my natural humanness, that I always have a place in his plan. Like, it was always meant to be, right where I am. And there's just so much strength that comes in that belief, that I know one day will just become knowledge.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Melissa. Super powerful. And, I know you have been on the gratitude call, what would you say, probably about 4 months or something like that? You've been coming almost every single day?
Yeah, since February, beginning of February.
Okay, so maybe 5 months. And I've seen the change that's happened in you. And I just have to say, I have to really reiterate the power of this gratitude call to change you, to help you move from fear to faith and to trust and just a feeling of peace. And, that's something that you might have thought in the past that you couldn't control, that I wake up and I just am in fear, that it just happens. But now you're seeing that, this has been a total change in you. And I know that you being in gratitude every day has really helped to facilitate that. So it's definitely possible. Thank you. I really feel like you and I were divinely orchestrated together too. And
Definitely.
yeah, it's a huge part too. I want to acknowledge that. Thank you. Who else has something they would like to share?
I'd like to share.
Okay, Phil, and then Tammy.
Who first?
Phil first, and then Tammy.
Okay, I just was so wholeheartedly agree with Melissa on that. You know, I think that, you know, like we get to this point in our life where we all do, and we feel that there needs to be a decision made, and it seems like it's a black and white decision, and that if I do this thing, then oh my gosh, all these consequences are going to happen, and if I don't do these things, then all these consequences are going to happen. But the reality is that there's much, much more behind the scenes that we don't understand, or we don't get what's going on. And whether we do or whether we don't is not even the right question. You know, it's a matter of will we act or will we not act. And it, you know, most of the time the decision is not even that important. It's just that we make the decision, because the way that it's orchestrated, the way that it's so perfect in the way that it works, is that we really just can't make a wrong decision. We just make a decision, and there's consequences always, but the consequences are always right. Even if the consequences cause pain, it's still the right consequence. And so if we can see that and find that and understand that there is something much bigger to this picture that we cannot control, that has our best interest in mind all the time, then that helps us move and let go of that fear that we have of either doing or not doing. It's never black and white.
Wow, thank you so much. Super powerful. You're absolutely right. There's so much going on behind the scenes that God understands that we don't. And you're absolutely right. We can't make a wrong decision, because God can take us anywhere from anywhere. If we make a decision that takes us down a path that we're like, oops, made a mistake, He can totally get us back on the right path. Like, in a moment, in an instant, just with a choice, we can get back on the right path. And Christ has provided that atonement, you know, for us to be able to repent and be cleansed of any decision that we might have made that we might have regretted. We can totally be cleansed of that. So you're absolutely right. We can't make a wrong decision. And especially if we are asking every day for those inspired shortcuts and following those inspired shortcuts, we absolutely can't make a wrong decision. Love that. Thank you. Tammy.
So I just love how well our topic today fits with the meditation that we did yesterday at the end in the permission process, with placing our effort on the altar and allowing Christ to take it. I was just thinking about, there's some things within my marriage that I've been working on manifesting, and yesterday I knew that I had completed the last thing that was my part in that. And so my shortcut yesterday was to place my part of my marriage on the altar and completely let it go. Put it in God's hands and completely let it go. And I was thinking about how divine orchestration is never forced. It always comes naturally. And it's easy when we're observant to that and we recognize that divine orchestration within our lives. It's easy to tell if we are trying to force something. And it just, as we allow it to just come, things just naturally come together perfectly and effortlessly. And I just love the process of that.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm just 100% agreement. Thank you. God is always simple. It always feels, it's always easy. And so absolutely, we know when we're not, when we're trying to force it. Any other thoughts before we shift over to our permission process?
Yes, just really quick. I have been thank you so much for everything that everyone shared. I normally wake up in the morning and I'm like, yay, it's a new day. Let's go get this. And I feel pretty optimistic. And this morning I had a different emotion. I woke up and I felt really super heavy. And I am grateful that we have the opportunity to learn from other people, to understand why we might have that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm super grateful that all of you are here and that I have an opportunity to learn from what you're learning, to understand that emotion a little bit better.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like on this call, there's so many new things opened up to my mind and my understanding. I feel the same way. I'm just really grateful. It helps me to figure out me when I hear other people speak. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any last thoughts before we shift over to our permission process?
Can I add a little bit to that sentiment there?
Go ahead, Melinda.
So when you first said the gratitude for divine orchestration, I was like, wow, that seems like a lot. Like when I think about an orchestra, I think it's pretty intensive. And then I thought, well, actually, it's really simple, isn't it? Because orchestras are not in an individual system. It's a group of well-practiced people who have a lot of commitment to a certain goal, outcome, purpose, and performance. And just understanding that like-minded people are divinely appointed to each other to go with Christ's purpose and God's purpose, like you were explaining. And just thank you, everyone, for your shares. They were so inspiring.
Thanks, Melinda. That does add another little aspect of it, that each one of us is a player in God's orchestra. And, he's the one who is in charge of everybody, giving everybody the instructions, and the guidance. But all we really have to, if I'm not a tuba player, I'm not going to go try to play the tuba for somebody. I'm going to let him play his tuba and I'm going to play my violin or whatever. And I'm going to be listening and being aware, of the other players around me, because that's what makes that beautiful sound. Like you're saying, having that like-minded, single-mindedness, of purpose, and all looking to God, for instruction. So there's a beautiful synergy that happens within, but all I have to worry about is my own, playing my own instrument. Thank you. Rachel, did you have something? I saw that you unmuted yourself.
It's pretty much the same. I'm on the same wavelength, just in gratitude that for all the truths that are spoken on this call. I just sit back and am amazed with all of the words that come out and all the things that are taught and the spirit that's felt and the revelation that I receive daily doing this. It really is a powerful tool, and it's been orchestrated for my good almost every single day that I'm on the call. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I agree. And I'm just being overcome by emotion because I'm realizing that this gratitude call was orchestrated. It was divinely orchestrated. We've been doing this for about 4 years, probably close to 4.5 now. And I know that the people that are here on this call today, I was just thinking, Phil mentioned earlier about, let's see, what did you say? Like behind the scenes, like what's going on behind the scenes. Phil and I met in an elevator. When you said that, Phil, I remembered where we met, and to me, that was divine orchestration, that we were in the same elevator together and that we actually talked to each other, because most people in elevators don't talk to each other. We just went up 1 or 2 floors. I mean, we were only in the elevator for seconds, and we made that connection. And now we are joint venture partners together. You're on my gratitude call. I'm supporting what you're creating. I mean, it totally is. There is a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Well, let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Let's just get prepared to step into our permission process. And as we have just gotten more understanding about divine orchestration, I want to just give acknowledgement to God for his part in the grand plan and the responsibility that he takes upon himself to make sure that all of us have the best possible experience in this earth life, and his desire for all of us to return to him, and that the power that he holds to be able to orchestrate events, create relationship, connection, people, places, opportunities coming together at the exact perfect time to create a positive experience that will help keep us on the path that returns to him and our heavenly home. And just as you take another deep breath, just feel the gratitude for the grand scheme of things, the plan that is well beyond anything that we could possibly do in our humanness. But for God, it is just a natural flow. It's something that is easily accomplished, especially for those who come to him on a daily basis and ask for guidance. Take one more deep breath. See yourself as one of his orchestra, one of his children that he thrills and just loves to orchestrate and bring beauty and joy into our lives. And seeing things on more from God's perspective and seeing the grand plan and our part in it, just invite you to be open to know what is the instruction that God has for you today. Just be open to listen. What is the instruction that he has for you today? And with that instruction, there might be a limiting belief that is coming up for you. And just acknowledge that limiting belief, write that down, and also examine the cost of that limiting belief. What outcome will that limiting belief produce if you hold on to it? And if you don't like that outcome and you'll want to change it, you can totally give yourself permission to choose something different. And if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose a new belief, say yes.
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 Awesome. And so now that you have chosen to give yourself permission to choose a new belief, now it's time to write some new beliefs. So what are the new beliefs, 2 or 3 new beliefs that will take the place of that old limiting belief, will empower you to make a new choice that will create a different outcome, that will offer trust in this instruction that you've received, that will give you the faith to receive it, embrace these new ideas. What are some new beliefs that will serve you? And with those new beliefs, I invite you to use these new beliefs as confidence and courage to really get solid in this instruction that you've received. Allow these new beliefs to infuse faith and confidence in those words that you've received. And what is the one most important thing that you could do today that would really help you become more physically solid in this instruction? If there's some instruction that you've received that's just like new understanding, what is one thing that you can do that would add evidence, physical evidence, and give you something tangible to hold on to within this instruction that would allow this seed to grow just a little bit, and so that you can see the truth in it and also gain even further understanding because of personal experience. That this is not just just an inspired thought, but now that there is hard evidence that supports the thought. What is your inspired shortcut today? What's one thing you can do that would give hard evidence to this new idea? And just checking in with those new beliefs again, just to make sure that the new beliefs will empower you and give you courage to take action on that inspired shortcut. If you need to add some things or change some words, go ahead and take a moment to do that now. In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. I would like to invite anyone that would like to have a 15-minute personal private mentoring session with me, 15 minutes for free. All you have to do is just go to askwileen.com, and that will take you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call. And those 15-minute calls are meant to really help you pinpoint the one thing that needs to change for you to be able to move forward. And 15 minutes doesn't seem like very long, but I promise it's enough. And so if you feel like you need that extra support, I invite you to go to askwileen.com and schedule a 15-minute call with me. I also just want to invite you to consider sharing this call or other calls that have inspired you with people that you're inspired to share it with. I just, I know the power of gratitude on a daily basis, and being on this call is the reason why we're still doing it 4.5 years later, is because it works. You come here consistently for any length of time and you're going to be changed. You're going to have a more peaceful life, has been mentioned, more happy life, more fulfillment. You will be in more of a position to be able to serve people, and you will be orchestrated by God. Your life will be orchestrated by God because you're connecting with Him on a daily basis. Who has something that they would like to share? We have just a couple minutes.
I would love to share something.
Thanks, Phil.
So my limiting belief with this, that everything's divinely orchestrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm faced with decisions every single day. And so one of my limiting beliefs is that I'll miss out on something else.
Mm.
Another one is that I'll hurt someone with my actions or decisions, or that I will be vulnerable and that someone will take advantage of me.
Mm.
And the new beliefs are everything is divinely orchestrated. I cannot make a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
Everything always works out for my best, or the best interests of all.
Wow. Powerful. Thank you. I love that. Everything always works out for the best interest of all. And wow, so freeing, so much more peaceful. Thank you. Melissa, did you want to share?
Yeah, if I can real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love the way that you kind of painted the picture of us being in the orchestra of God. And I just kind of imagined us just like sitting in this chair, you know, like the whatever instrument chair. And he's our teacher. And I just imagined like us just wanting him to know what our struggle is, like just know what we're going through, and just to have that compassion from him. And those of you who follow me on social media know that I have spoken up about kind of the social issues that are going on right now. And I just see how much this world, the people in this world, we just want people to know what we're going through. We want people to know what our struggle is. And it's just an awareness, and it's just an acknowledgement to say, I see you and you're suffering and you're, you know, it's hard, but I see you and I love you. And just extending that compassion. And I just saw God, you know, just loving us and just having us be a part of his orchestra, and like a special part of his orchestra, not just filler people who, you know, just kind of happen to be there, but integral people, like every single one of us. And it just like came over me, and I just feel so much love and compassion for everyone, and especially people who struggle. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you. And I really believe that as we allow ourselves to be divinely orchestrated and we take action on those inspired shortcuts and move when he speaks, that we become so much more capable of that pure charity and compassion, the Christ-like charity and compassion. When we can step out, like when you're in fear, when it's really hard to focus on somebody else's fear and to have compassion for them because we're in our own fear. But when we can step out of that, as you've mentioned, Melissa, like waking up and being in peace, and Phil, being in peace instead of fear, then that is when we can actually look outside of ourselves and we can see the suffering of others, and we can have and feel compassion for them. Thank you. I want to add just one last thought about this analogy of the orchestra. I have been in singing groups where the conductor has just the ear to be able to hear almost individual voices, but especially, you know, different parts, and to be able to really give the feedback that's necessary to get everybody in harmony. And it's such a I don't even know what the word is, joyful, I guess, experience to be in a group like that, where you have a leader who has the ability to hear what's going on and to be able to give the instruction that helps to bring everybody into alignment, so that it feels like we're all just singing as one voice. Even though it's just me individually, I feel like I'm so much more powerful and so much more, I'm giving so much more of my soul when I have this wonderful practiced ear and someone who has the ability to give feedback in a way that is you know, based in love. And I feel like that is what God is for us. He has that practiced ear. Like he's seen everything. He knows us better than we even know ourselves. He lived with us in the pre-earth life for eternities before we ever came here. So he knows us so much better than we know ourselves. And he has that practiced ear. And when we're a little bit out of tune, he knows exactly the instruction to give us, to get us back into alignment, so that we can be one of his children and bring this whole human family together into a beautiful orchestra that sounds awesome. And I feel like that's what you're saying, Melissa, is just feeling that desire to bring everybody together more in harmony and through love and compassion. Well, thank you all for what has been shared. It's I kind of hate to end because this has just been such a wonderful call, and we've created such awesome energy here. Again, I encourage you to go to the Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude, and post there if you didn't have a chance to post or to share here, or if you had some additional thoughts that you'd like to share, and then also share this call, with anybody that you feel needs this message today. Love you guys. We won't be here Saturday and Sunday, so I encourage you to continue your daily GPS, your gratitude practice throughout the weekend. And then we will be back here Monday morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Thank you.
Thanks, Wiley.
Thank you. Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.